Late Night with the Devil has been kicking up a storm with both its unique take on horror as well as its inclusion of AI. While your mileage might vary with the film, I guarantee you haven't seen a film like this before.
What you're about to see
You okay, Jack?
is profoundly disturbing and shocking.
You get out there, Mr. Midnight, and you knock him dead.
Late Night with the Devil follows a live broadcast of a late night talk show in 1977 that goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. So first off, I think what I loved about this film was its visual storytelling, making use of found footage and specifically analog horror. If you don't know analog horror, it's like a subgenre of found footage that gives off a feel that this was made from like the 60s to the 90s and using those aesthetics and flaws of that analog technology to enhance the horror experience. This film is exactly that, showing a lost episode of a late night talk show in vein of Johnny Carson or Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, of the host interviewing a demonically possessed girl. And the thing about this film and the genre more broadly is that it really enhances the horrific experience through this visual storytelling. It's one thing to make a regular horror film, and the film is very aware of the fact, which kind of gives you that sense of safety and comfort and distance from what you're seeing on screen. It's a whole other thing when the film makes you an active participant, and the film is aware of the fact that you are part of the audience and plays with that. And as a result, there are a few moments, hell, even a few specific frames within the film that it's like a blink and you miss a moment that sincerely disturbed me. And the film could only have done that if it treated the material authentically, that like, hey, like you're actually watching a lost episode of a late night talk show where something evil and satanic is going on, making you feel immersed in this horrific story. If you're already familiar with analog horror, then by all means, this film isn't really doing anything new. But if this is the first time you ever heard of analog horror, then I really suggest watching this film because it's really unique and a cool, fresh take on horror. Another thing I really liked about the film was the lore, which granted was a double-edged sword. And I'll get into why that is later. But as far as what aspects I liked about the lore, I appreciate this film sort of giving these hints at these larger subplots that you can kind of piece together. I also really respected and appreciated that it included like real life conspiracies, you know, mainly the Bohemian Grove, which I'm not gonna go into this video explaining that, but if you know, you know. And this film introduces all these elements, all these little clues that you can piece together, and I thought that was cool. It was really appreciated. It kind of makes the film a little more engaging, and I respect that. Now let's go on to where I think the film kind of stumbles. My biggest gripe with the film is for sure the pacing. And when I say the pacing, I don't necessarily mean the actual length of the film, if it was too long or too short. I had no issue with that. It's more so the dramatic pacing. The way this film starts, it starts off right away, very dramatic. You're getting right into the horror, and you know something is horribly wrong. And while I think that can make the film more engaging and exciting for a casual audience member, I thought the cost of it was a lack of tension, or at least a nice buildup of tension. What I would have preferred would have been the film taking a little bit more of a slow burn approach in the beginning. You know, maybe the first 30 minutes it was like an actual real late night talk show like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or Conan, with maybe some visual and audio hints of something evil and sinister going on, and then of course you can escalate from there and build up to this very horrific climax and ending. But instead the film just goes right for the throat at the beginning, and sure, yes, while exciting, I don't think there's a really great gradual buildup of tension that I would have preferred personally. I said that the lore was a double-edged sword, and now here I'll go into why. I think the biggest problem with the lore and these subplots that are introduced in the film is that the film kind of bites off more than it can chew, and it takes away from the main focus of what this film should be. Now, these things by themselves, I have no issue with, and I don't mind like learning more about them or incorporating them in the story. I just think that within an hour and a half film, which that's how long this film is, it was just too much to juggle, and as a result, this film doesn't really glue these pieces together. in a satisfying way, I thought. And of course, we got to talk about the AI elephant in the room. This film has been getting a lot of flack online with AI generated images being used in the film. Specifically, they're like little drawings that serve as transition shots when the late night talk show cuts to a break. And yeah, a couple of them, not all of them, but a couple of them, very obvious that they're AI generated. It's kind of annoying because, you know, they're so simple and so quick. You wonder why they didn't just hire someone to draw these or help maybe get someone on set to make these because it's so simple and so quick. And it is a very concerning trend in the industry. But this isn't the video to talk about that. Regardless, those AI images ruined the film for me. Not all. It's only just like 6 seconds in the whole film. Should it ruin the film for you, or should it prevent you from seeing this film? Not all. And while I think the film kind of stumbles in certain aspects, I think it's definitely worth a watch because regardless if you love it or you hate it, you have to admit that you haven't seen a film like this before. And I think that alone makes it worth the watch. And so, respectively, I would give this film 3.5 stars.
Late Night with the Devil.
Thank you for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought of the film in the comments. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.